Hello everyone! Welcome to the first episode of Psypris' Asylum, Embrace Insanity. Today we'll be introducing the definition and idea of cosplay, in order to start a general discussion in later episodes. First, as a note, I have decided that these conversations will strictly be audio podcasts and not video logs. However, I will be adding them to YouTube for your convenience, since the autoplay feature comes in handy when your hands are tied up with crafts and stuff. Alright, so let's get started. What is cosplay? Cosplay is a portmanteau of the words costume, play, although some feel it's actually the mixing of the words costume and roleplay, but either way, it should be pronounced cosplay with an S, not cosplay with a Z. I'm not sure where this came from, but personally, I've heard cosplay from California cosplayers mostly, but it just doesn't make sense as the cos stands for costume. But I digress. Cosplay is quite simply role-playing as a particular character from a pre-existing concept. That concept can be a television show, live action or cartoon, a book, a game, a meme, practically anything. I have always considered it a performance art, and as an FYI, a conversation I had back on Facebook resulted in the Wikipedia page adding my actual definition to the description. But no, I promise it wasn't me who changed it. Basically, a cosplayer will put on a costume and pretend or act as that character. It's all improv and not usually scripted, although cosplay skits quite frequently occur. The term was coined in 1984 by Nobuyuki Takahashi of Studio Hard while attending Worldcon in Los Angeles, California. However, the first Star Trek convention was in 1972, and that's usually where cosplay is first attributed, so thank you, Trekkies! Now, it could be argued that cosplay as performance art has been around for centuries. The idea of donning a lion's pelt to act out a hunting scene goes back to the dawn of man. But then we would be entering a discussion of whether cosplay should be considered amateur acting, whereas professional acting is what we see in the theater, and so forth, and I don't want to get into all that and muddy the waters with pseudo-philosophical debates so early on in the series. So moving on, there has been much discussion on what it means to cosplay, and quite often distinctions are made within the hobby, such as costumer, cosplay model, and cosplayer. Essentially, the majority aligns with the thought that sewing a costume does not make you a cosplayer, as the play is not apparent in the act of wearing the costume. There's also an additional line where a costume model or a cosplay model is someone who wears the costumer's work but doesn't act in character. They're merely wearing the outfit like one would a dress at a dinner party, just to fit the ambiance. This isn't wrong by any means, but it does not have the heart and true meaning behind cosplay. A true cosplayer is one who acts in costume as the character they are portraying. They don't have to be good or overly convincing, but they will answer to the name of the character and interact with others as if they were said character. Think of the Disney princesses at Disney World. They are arguably professional cosplayers, as their technical job title is costume performer. Side note, I actually auditioned to be a character performer, but sadly did not make the cut as I'm too short. Oh well. Anyway, usually a cosplayer chooses a character they emulate or relate to, although it is quite common for cosplayers to choose a character based on the costume they wear, as half, if not most of cosplayers, actually make their own costumes. But making versus purchasing a costume will be discussed in the next episode, so I won't go further into that discussion. In short, cosplaying is different from wearing a costume at Halloween because the cosplayer puts more of themselves into it. They aren't just simply wearing an outfit, they are acting as that character. Cosplay most frequently happens at conventions and other gatherings of like-minded people, although cosplayers do generally enjoy Halloween as a way to wear the costume in public, and they'll also sometimes book locations for photography opportunities. Another quick thing to note is the terminology. People tend to refer to the outfit itself as a cosplay rather than simply a costume. When a cosplayer is working on their outfit, more than likely they will address the act of fabrication as working on cosplay rather than sewing. From my perspective, it just clarifies the activity further, as sewing implies hemming pants or making a prom dress. If you were to say, I plan on sewing this weekend, a follow-up question would be, what are you working on? On average, people tend to say, I'll be working on cosplay rather than I'll be working on my costume. And again, if it's not just a misnomer, then it's to distinguish the degree of concentration, if you will. A Halloween costume is usually pieced together for a fun night at a party, but a cosplay requires a bit more dedication, even a simple thrown together one. I hope I have given you an idea as far as what cosplay is in generic terms. Most people consider the idea initially as a childish hobby, but in fact, it actually takes quite a bit of talent in multiple mediums and a lot of creativity. A cosplayer can look at an everyday item and see a costuming possibility. It's a lot of fun to be a part of, and you can also get a lot of enjoyment out of simply viewing someone else's cosplay. In the next episode, I'll go over how to cosplay for those interested in getting into this hobby, and I'll explain the different types and ways you can obtain your costume. So, stick around!